Had those interesting comments from the Virgin boss yesterday, Scott, basically saying that some people may die, but it will be way smaller than the flu. That's from Jayne Hrdlicka. Of course, it's in the airline's best interest to get planes going again. But what do you make of that specific comment that's got a lot of people riled up?
Yeah, and look, to some degree, I think this is the challenge for the whole debate we're going to have as a country over the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months, is the country right now is not exactly sure where to go and what to do. The risk of, when do we reopen, how do we reopen, what does that look like? That's the key challenge. I think Hrdlicka's saying basically, look, we're going to have to reopen at some point. There is going to be effectively a human cost. I mean, that's the challenge in public policy is, either we stay closed forever, and even then we've got some leakage from hotel quarantine recently, or we reopen and accept that there is going to be some COVID come into the country. That is a really challenging public policy question, and it really does impact those tourism businesses, those travel businesses, those companies who are on this edge of, the ones being most affected. The rest of the economy, by the way, doing spectacularly well. So it is just a very small sliver. And then, of course, there are the broader policy questions, the broader ideology questions about what does freedom mean, what do open borders look like, how do we manage that? So it's a really, really complex question. The comments, of course, probably would have been best not made, but they're exactly the same comments, I'm absolutely sure, that are being had behind closed doors with public policy experts who are asking the same thing. How do we open? When do we open? What criteria do we use? What cost, financial and human, are we prepared to accept? That's kind of the hard, difficult conversations that need to be had, probably publicly. I think the PM probably needs to change the rhetoric a little bit. He did say yesterday, look, we will have to open at some point. Those are the discussions we're going to have. I think the business community and the public are saying, look, we'd like to have those conversations sooner rather than later to at least get ourselves to a position where we can make that call rather than it being all of a sudden, flick the switch from on to off or off to on. That rather know what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, when we're going to do it, or at least what conditions need to be
and it's reasonable
before
too.
We can open those borders again.
It's reasonable too. Once people are vaccinated, to think, well, okay, we've had the vaccine now. Now what? Now when can we go? Or when can people come in? Right? I mean, I'm not sure what sort of a holiday it would be at the moment. If you go into a lot of countries around the world, it's not like it is here. But still, we should get ourselves ready for that.
And people going to visit family overseas families coming here, people returning home. There are, and maybe it is a stage thing. As you say, that's exactly, we need to get ourselves ready for what will we do, when will we do it, and what are we prepared to accept in terms of, frankly, the straight out downsides. That was what Jayne Hrdlicka's comments were yesterday. Again, probably not great, in a public forum, probably not the right person to be saying it, given the issues and frankly, the allegations of selfishness or otherwise that may be levelled at her. But again, it's not the wrong question. It may have been the wrong forum.
Yeah, okay. I just love this Bitcoin story too, Scott, involving Elon Musk. So I think, and a lot of people do as well, I think he's manipulating the market here and making a ton of cash. But what do you make of what's going on, particularly the price of Bitcoin? He says he's not going to be using Bitcoin to be able to purchase Tesla products. After that happened, Bitcoin plunged, but I mean, it's not going to stay low for long.
It fell 25% in a week. I've got to say, the headline for me probably is, if any asset can move by that sort of amount based on one person's tweets, you can assume there's a whole lot of sentiment in that asset price. Now, good or bad, up or down, I'm not going to forecast Bitcoin's price. I've got a small $100 worth I bought 5 years ago just to have some skin in the game to follow along, basically as a financial commentator. But I'm not going to be buying or recommending Bitcoin as an asset. But it is, as you say, it is just fluctuating all over the place because no one knows how to value it, what to pay for it, how much it's worth. Right now, there are people yelling at their television, saying, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about either way you should or you shouldn't buy it. It's just too hard to value. And as I said, when sentiment can push things around based on one man's tweets, yes, he's a smart guy, yes, he's a billionaire, so not just any old guy, but when it can move by that much in a week, you really do know there's just plenty of speculation going on. This is one for the lottery ticket crowd. It's not a serious investment, at least not yet.
That's interesting, Scott, that you just sort of put a little bit in just from a professional sense, you can see how it's going. So how's that $100 going?
Yeah, it was basically doing it right. There's a backstory. Actually, I chose an app that I actually can't sell my Bitcoin. So last I checked, it was about $800 worth. So
you've done all right then.
Return in 5 or 6 years. I've done all right. Hindsight, I should have put 100,000 in and let it ride. But
exactly.
It was literally just a case of so many.
Yeah, and then you got your capital gain. Now I was going to say your capital gains takes a bit of that, but anyway, it's still a fun ride.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I mean, look, yeah, it was one of those things. Everyone wants to know what to do with it, how to do it, how it works, how easy or hard it was. So I literally just went, okay, I'll find an account, I'll sign up, buy the Bitcoin, just let it ride, just for the sake of going through the motions. There is a sense in finance, I think it's pretty right, that when you've got even a couple of shares in a company, or in this case, a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin, it just means you pay a little bit more attention, you follow a little more closely, and you're probably closer to the issue. So I think that was basically why I did it. But
I like
as I said, that was $100 5 years ago. It's not an investment recommendation.
Yep.